Okay, the first assignment was very simple assignment, even and odd. Okay, the first question that you must have knowledge about what is even, what is odd, then you are supposed to perform it. So how I can define the number is even, how I can define the number is odd? For example, for this one is the mathematical rule, because I already told you whenever you are going to solve any problem, just find out the mathematics behind of that problem. So for the same concept, let's suppose the number is there, the n is equal to 10, and you want to check it out whether this number is even or odd. Very simple, with the help of 2, if it is divided properly and you get the remainder 0, that's mean the number is even. If your remainder is not equals to 0, that's mean that number is odd. This is simple funda to understand the concept of the even and odd. So whenever you are supposed to solve this problem, always keep this funda into the mind, because you have to use this concept. And where exactly this real time use case is used, now understand carefully. Okay, for example, in the production side, I am talking about in the production side, I face this problem into the into the real time scenario. Now observe carefully, this problem is implemented where into the real time scenario. Let's suppose I was making a program and my client was saying me, okay, I was taking a 1 lakh steps. Okay, I am giving a the training to a model, and inside model what my requirement is that I want to know on every 5-1 step, what is the value, okay, that was my problem statement. Okay, now observe carefully, understand, I am repeating once again, my problem was I have to take thousands of let's suppose 10 lakh steps. Okay, I was training a model, I was giving training to a model, and I have to take approximately 10 lakh steps, and my client is asking me, okay, what will the value inside 517 step, every 517 step, okay, what output I am getting. Okay, what output I am getting. For example, let's suppose on the 5-1 step I am getting this output, let's suppose x is 2.888, something like this. Okay, I was just checking out how the the error is going down. Again, when I add one more 5-1 steps, 517 steps, then what output on this particular range? 10, let's suppose 774 and 34. Okay, what is the output into the 1034 step, and so on. That was my requirement. So to fulfill this requirement, this logic is implemented. Very simple logic. Just I have to do this. If x modulation of 517 double equals to 0, then I have to print the value of x. That's it. This was the logic for the same. Okay, only 2 line of logic. This is the real time use case of this logic. That's why when we start the coding, we perform such kind of logics, and these logics, after combining these small logics, then your product is ready, because this one is the basic fundamentals of any of the programming language. Okay, if your logics are sound, then the programming is nothing. Whatever language that you are going to use, you can use any programming language if your logics are strong. Okay, so back to this funda. Now I tell you where exactly that we are using such type of scenarios, even and odd. So very simple program. I am asking from a user and I am getting the input. After getting the input, I am checking it whether this input is even or odd. To getting it, very simple, we know if n modulation of 2 double equals to 0, because I use this mod operator and I know this mod operator will return me the remainder. Okay, it will return me the remainder. Okay, after that I have to put colon. If this condition is true, then what exactly you have to do? You have to just print the number is even. Okay, the number is even. Else what you have to do? Print the number is odd. That's it. Very simple logic. And Helen ma'am, you did mistake over here. You don't use this comparison operator. Okay, now what exactly happening over here? Now after, let's suppose the number is 10. After performing this operator, what exactly I am getting? I am getting this one, 2, 5, 10, and I am getting 0. Now I am checking if 0 double equals to 0. Okay, double equals to 0, then this condition is true, that I have to print this statement on the screen. The number is even number. Okay, else part, if let's suppose this time the 9, 2 for the 8 and the remainder 1. So this here, the output I am getting 1, that 1 is not equals to 0. That means this condition is not true. Then what would be execute? You will get this output. The print is the number is odd. So this one is a funda. To getting the number is even or odd. And Helen ma'am, please correct your mistake. What exactly you did? Please correct it. Okay. Okay, great. Now the third one was this one. Find the greater number between three numbers. Okay, find the greater number between three numbers. So very simple. If A greater than B and A greater than C, perfect. Print of A is greater. What I am using? I am using the concept of AND. What is the meaning of AND? These both conditions are true. If these both conditions are true, it's mean. What is the meaning of this? The A is greater. Sorry, here I have to put C. A is greater from B. A is greater from C. Perfect. Everyone attempt this one accurately. But okay, someone attempt like this. L if B greater than A and B greater than C. Now what is happening? Output is right. Output is no issue inside the output. Okay, else print C. Okay, but when you attempt the same thing with 5 numbers, you guys confuse over here. Okay, now let me explain this point. Okay, because here the output is exactly fine. There is no difference between the output. But understand the concept where I am lacking into this. Okay, so here I am checking. Understand carefully. I am checking if A greater than B and A greater than C. Meaning of this is if both conditions are true. If both conditions are true, then the output is this one. Let's suppose if any of condition is not true. Let's suppose this condition is true, this condition is not true. Okay, there might be, this can be happen, this condition is true, this is not true, or this is true, this is not true. So this condition can happen, because I implemented over here and. When I implemented over here and, it's mean if one of the condition is not true, if any of the condition is false, that's mean A can never be largest. Okay, A can never be largest. It's confirmed. If this condition is false, then A can never be largest number. It's clear after watching this scenario. Then what is need to compare B with A? I think there is no need, because A is out of game. After falsing this condition, A is out of game, and I am again comparing of A with B. Okay, or B with A. That doesn't make any sense, because I already check over here. I know I use this AND. If I use this AND, that's mean if both of the conditions are true, then I have to print A is greater. If one of the condition is false, it's confirmed that A is not a greater number in any case. Okay, so rather than write over here this statement, what you can do, simple, B greater than C. That's it. It will work fine. Now the same thing when I implemented into the 5 numbers, A greater than B and A greater than C and A greater than D and A greater than E. Perfect. Okay, if all conditions are true, then print A is greater. L if now I know if one of the condition is false, A can never be a largest number. For the same, what I have to do? L if B greater than C and B greater than D and B greater than E. Okay, then you have to do over here, you have to print over here the B is greater. Okay, B is, what is happening? Okay, so I am deleting it. Okay, so let's suppose for the 5 number, A greater than B and A greater than C and A greater than D and A greater than E. Okay, A greater than E. If this condition is not true, I know A cannot be a largest number. So out of game, A is out of game. So there is no concern of A. Now what I left? Now I have to check B greater than C and B greater than D and B greater than E. Okay, if this condition, any of one condition is fail, that's mean B is out of game. There is no need of B. Then what we have left? C greater than D and C greater than E. If any of the condition is false, then C out of the game. What we left? D greater than E. Okay, if this condition is fail, that's else E is greater. That's it. That's it. If, alif, 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 and else. So that's why I give you this assignment, because I know many of you did this mistake. And why should I waste my resources? Why should I waste my resources? Can I make my code little optimized? Yes, I make my code little optimized. Okay, if I use over here or, then this is not, then at that point this will not work fine. Okay, because I use and I know meaning of the and is, if the all conditions are true, then the output would be true. Otherwise, if any of one condition is false, then the output would be false. So I think this picture is clear for everyone. This picture is clear for everyone. Anyone having doubt on this? Okay, great. Okay, good. So this one is different. These are very small things that you have to take care. Don't worry about it. With the practice, you will automatically understand. Now in whole life, you won't do this kind of mistake, because you understand your concept in great detail. Okay, good. So I am moving ahead. Now I am making a program. Okay, the grading system. Okay, and I will teach you one new concept over there. So I am opening this one is UK and Ireland batch. Let me open. What was the name of your folder? Ireland batch 2. Okay, perfect. So just wait for a second. Okay, so I am making a program to grading number system. Okay, I am just taking only 3 numbers. So first I am taking the mathematics int of input of enter maths. Okay, the first marks I am taking for the mathematics, the second and the third. The second marks for English and the third marks for your, let's suppose, any of the subject. Python, I am taking the Python marks. Okay, enter Python score. Okay, then you have to English. Okay, something like this. Okay, now I collect the 3 marks, and what I have to do, calculate the percentage, PER. Okay, PER M plus E plus P. Okay, and divide by 3. That's it. Okay, so it will give me the average of all these. Now if PER greater than, okay, PER greater than 90, that's mean I have to print over here A plus. Okay, A plus. I am taking very small, the description to just understand the concept. Elif per is, okay, percentage greater than 80, okay, greater than 80, and percentage less than equals to 90, okay, less than equals to 90, then what I have to do, print of A. Okay, so the third case, elif percentage greater than 70 and percentage less than equals to 80. Okay, now the print of that's mean B grade. Okay, elif percentage greater than 60 and percentage less than equals to 70, then print of C grade. Perfect, print of C grade. Else, okay, and the last statement, default statement, if all the conditions are fail, then print you are fail. Okay, you are fail. And I am just printing for the reference over here, print of percentage. Okay, or you can use average as well, percentage comma PER. Okay, now I am running it. First you have to save it, file save as PER, okay, average.py, and I am executing it, CMD. Okay, CM. Now understand concept, py space average.py. Okay, so enter math marks 77. Okay, now the percentage is 77. According to that percentage, you are getting the B grade. Okay, perfect. Now again I am taking 90. Okay, 90. Okay, 90. Now according to 90, okay, understand it. My clause was if my percentage greater than 90, then I will get the A grade. If my percentage greater than 80 and less than equals to 90. It's mean this is the boundary. Okay, this is the boundary. If your percentage is greater than 80, that's mean your percentage is greater than 80. That's mean 81 to 90. If you are scoring any of 81 to 90 marks, then you are getting the A grade. In this case, if you are scoring the more than 90% marks, okay, more than 90 is not included over here, 91, 92, 93 and so on, then you can use this A plus grade. Okay, this is very basic code. Okay, understand this concept. Now I am giving you one more assignment inside this. So you have to check all numbers. Okay, inside math, let's suppose I enter 100. Okay, inside English I enter again 0. Inside Python I again enter 200. Okay, so then the percentage would be 90. Okay, the percentage would be 90 or 100, more than 90, or that can be 100. So how you can handle this situation? That is again your task. You have to implement the if condition. If, okay, when you have to process it, if mathematics marks, English marks, okay, Python marks, just wait for a second, please, sorry, wait for a second. Okay, sorry. So now understand this concept. If the marks are more than, so what you have to do? You have to check this condition. If mathematics marks less than 100 or equals to 100, or, and one condition that you can check, again the marks cannot be into the negative. Okay, the mark should be greater than 0 and less than equals to 100, then they are the valid marks. So you have to implement this clause as well into this assignment. Kindly make, now you are capable enough because you know if condition very well. Now you are capable enough to handle this type of scenarios. Okay, so kindly implement this thing. So this is all about your basic. If you have any doubt regarding this assignment before proceeding further, please let me ask. If anyone having any question, any doubt till now. Okay, good. So next is I am little extended it. Okay, now I am making this assignment more generalized. Okay, so this time your assignment is, let's suppose you are asking a name from user. You ask the name. Let's suppose you ask the name as well. Name is Ravi. Okay, or whatever name. Age, don't need to age, and ask the roll number for the user. Roll number, let's suppose 101. After completion of this process, after that you are asking the marks of mathematics, marks of English, marks of Python. After calculation of the percentage, you guys are supposed to print the message, hello, okay, hello Ravi, okay, your roll number is this one, your percentage is, let's suppose 77. According to your percentage, your grade is, okay, that is the B grade, or fail grade, or C grade, or A grade, or A plus grade. So I need this output. How you will handle this situation? Please think about it. Think for 2 minutes. Okay, just think about it and give me your solution. How you will handle this situation? Because at the end of execution, I need this proper message. Hello Ravi, your roll number is this one, your marks is this one, and according to your marks, your grade is this one. I need this output. Okay, you guys will tell me. Just take your time. Just take your 2 minutes. And please tell me one by one, what's your approach for the same? How you will handle this situation?
Can we put like in the print command, like with the, the variable and text together, and then concatenating all the stuff together?
Okay, so I'm backing to this code. Okay, in every statement that you will use this print, I think. Because you have to use it. Okay, this is one solution. You can do it. Anyone else who want to give any answer?
Can you set a print command at the end of the final?
Print command, yes, yes, definitely. If I use one print, then how I can hold these values? The percentage A plus the print A, okay, A, B, C. I need this. I have to work somewhere around here. Okay, around here, because in every statement it's simple. I am just printing the output on the screen, but this time my requirement is changed. After calculating each thing, that after end of this program you have to print a one beautiful message to the user. Hello user, your name is this one, your roll number is this one, and so on. So how you will handle this situation?
Sir, instead of the print statement like this one, print A plus, I just assign
Your voice is not coming.
I will assign a new variable.
Yes, perfect. Very good answer. Very good answer. So how I can handle this situation? Please understand. Very good attempt from Yogesh. Now understand it. I am taking a variable, very simple variable over here. Let's suppose the variable name is xx. Very simple. And this variable belong to the string class. Okay, empty string class. Okay, I decide a empty. I assign a empty string over here. That's mean it's a variable. And runtime, I am going to assign some value to this variable. Okay, so here I am asking name. Okay, name is equal to input of enter name. Perfect. Okay, so okay, here I am asking roll number. Okay, so I'm copying it, control C and control V. Okay, enter roll number. Very simple. Okay, so inside this variable, now understand this concept. What I am using over here, rather than to printing it, whenever this condition is true, x value become a plus. Perfect. Whenever this condition is true, then x value become a. Perfect. Whenever this condition is true, then x value become b. Very good. Okay, whenever this condition true, x value become your c. Okay, whenever this condition true, x value become fail. Now the first I have done. Okay, this is the way, because this is again the important things. Now at the end of this code, print. Now I have to print hello. Okay, hello comma name. Now understand this concept again. This is again complicated. I will give you the the easy way to handle this situation as well. First I will use the basic concept, then I will use some another ways. Okay, hello name, and then what you have to print? Your roll number. Okay, roll number is, and then you have to print the variable, that is the r. After that, what message that you have to display on the screen? Your marks, your percentage. Okay, I'm don't worry about the spellings. Is the spellings mistake, don't worry about it. Percentage comma per, just focus on the concept. Okay, your percentage is this one, because this per is containing percentage. According to your percentage, okay, your grade is, okay, your grade is comma, okay, comma, that is xx. Very simple. Okay, this is the one way. Okay, now I am running this code, I am saving it, I am running it. Okay, I am saving it and I am running it. Now name Ravi. Okay, roll number 1 2, math marks 33, 55, 77. Okay, now when I press enter, now you are getting hello Ravi, your roll number is 12, your percentage is 50.0. according to your percentage, your grade is fail. Okay, your grade is fail. That's mean this person is fail. Very simple message. Now this is the one way, very easy way. Okay, you can use this way, but here the chances of mistakes are very high. Why so? Because you have to take care about this comma, after that you have to take care about this comma, you have to take care about these quotes. Okay, because of human nature, it's a very simple line. Okay, if I say you, okay, you have to print hello Ravi. Okay, your roll number is this one, your college is this one, and this college is very famous. According to your mathematics marks are this one, your English marks are this one, your Python marks are this one, and according to your marks I calculate your percentage is 55%, and this percentage is the fail grade. Okay, so you try for the next time. Okay, just something like this. That's a very huge line. Okay, very huge message. And if you try to handle this concept, you can handle it. Okay, you can handle it. I handled in front of you, again you can handle it, but the chances of mistakes are very high. Why so? Because you have to take care of all these things. And it's very complicated. In the long term scenarios, it's very complicated to handle this kind of things. Somewhere you will definitely do the mistakes. Maybe if you leave this comma over here, immediately you will get the error message. Okay, and let's suppose this is very huge line. Let's suppose it contains 500 characters or more than 500 characters. Then it's very complicated. Now sir, what is the alternate for the same? Okay sir, what is the alternate for the same to handle this type of things? But my requirement is this one, sir, I want to handle. Okay, don't worry about it. So there are two ways. The one way is called format. Okay, the format is a method. Okay, it's a method which is available in Python 3. This is available in Python 3, not available with Python 2. Okay, because we are learning this Python 3. Python 2 is outdated from the market in Jan 2020. Okay, so Python 2 is not more available into the production side. So we are learning Python 3, and in Python 3 there is one method that is called format. Sir, there is one more method. That method is called fstring. Okay, fstring. This way, with this way, with this way. Choice is again your. I will show you the both of the cases. Choice is again your. Which way that you feel comfortable, go with that. That's it. Very simple. Okay. So now understand the format method. Okay. Understand this format method. Now I am writing the same line. I am displaying the same thing on the screen. Okay, and I am copying it. And I am pasting it. Okay, for this time, observe carefully. Where I need the name of the variables, where I need the name, I need the data of the variable, there I am just simply using these curly braces. Okay, wherever you use, you use these variable values, there you have to use these curly braces. That's it. Okay, that's it. According to your percentage, your grade is this. Okay, that's it. This is the one way. Now I know hello, I need here the name variable, here I need the R variable, here I need the PER variable, here I need the XX variable. Okay, now I have to assign the value to this variable. For the same, I am using the format method. Format. Okay, format. What variables that I need? Name. After that, R. And again, the name variable is PER, and then the XX. Okay, perfect. Now, what you have to do? By default, it is on 0th index, it is on 1 index, it is on 2 index, it is on 3 index. So where I need 0 index? On here, I need 0 index. Okay, where I need 1 index? Here I need 1 index. Where I need 2 index? Okay, the 2 index 0 1 2. Okay, 2 index I need over here, 3 index I need over here. Okay, my problem is resolved out. And what more I can do? Okay, I need this name variable one more time. Like this. Okay, so here you again need the 0 variable. Okay, again you need the 0 variable. Now again the name would be appear at the end of this. So how many times that you want to use, you have just give the index value of that particular variable, and this method is called format method. Okay, format, very simple thing. Start end curly braces. Okay, and start curly braces. Inside curly braces, this one your message. Inside your message, whatever that you want, where you require the variable names, here you have to pass the index of that variables. Okay, very simple with the help of this format, because inside format everything is specified. So now I am saving it. Now you can check. This one is the first way, this one is the second way. So output would be same in the both of the cases. Now observe this scenario. Name, let's suppose John. Okay, roll number, let's suppose 1 2 3. Okay, the math marks 44 55 66. Okay, now you can check. Hello John, your roll number is 1 2 3. Hello John, your roll number is 1 2 3. Your percentage is 55. Your percentage is 55. According to your percentage, your grade is fail. Your grade is fail. John. Okay, again I use one more time the same variable. So this is the help of the format method, where the error chances are very less. Okay, because you don't bother about these things. Okay, you don't bother about these things. So whatever you take care about it, you just take care about it. Wherever you use the the variable name, there you have to specify these curly braces. Inside curly braces, what exactly that you have to do? You have to just pass this index of that variable. That's it. Okay, the third is very simple, again more simple than this. Now sir, it's very difficult for me to keep remember the index numbers. Don't worry about it, then leave it. Okay sir, I don't need it. Don't worry about it. Sir, I know the variable names only. Don't worry about it. Name. Okay, here you need the variable that is R. Okay, here you need the variable that is the ber, here you need the variable that is the xx, here you need the variable, let's suppose again name. Okay, so what else that you have to do? If you want to use something like this, you want to simply direct pass the variable inside curly braces. Now this time it's a error. Okay, you have to convert it into the f string. Okay, for converting it into the f string, you simply just put over here small f. Okay, prior to do this thing, you have to just simple put here this f. Now it become the formatted string. When it become the formatted string, now whenever you pass this variable, automatically the variable value is assigned over here. The variable value is assigned over here. The variable value is assigned over here. Control S, Control S. Now I am running the same code. Okay, this time the name is Nitin. Okay, the name is Nitin. The roll number is, let's suppose, this one. Okay, the math marks is, let's suppose, 99. Okay, 99. Okay, 99. Okay, now when I press enter, now you can observe. Hello Nitin. Hello Nitin. Roll number this. Your percentage this. According to your percentage, your grade is A plus. ठीक है जी. This is the way. Now clear? I think picture is clear. Choice is again your, in which field you feel comfortable, go with that method. Okay, you feel comfortable with F, go with F. You feel comfortable with this, go with this. You feel comfortable with this, go with this. Okay, any question till now you can ask me. Anyone having any question, any doubt, please ask me before proceed further, because this is all about your if and else. Now we will use this if and else into the for. Anyone have any question, please ask me. So no question? Okay, good. So that's mean everything is clearing. Good. So understand the next concept. That concept is called your iterative statements. Okay, iterative statements. Perfect. Iterative statement inside Python, there are only two iterative statements. The one is for and the second one is while. You keep remember only these two. The one is for and the one is while. So our concern for today is for only. Okay, we won't bother about this while today. So our task is for. We will discuss in more detail the for loop. Okay, the for loop. Now understand how exactly the for loop work. Okay, the question is, sir, why should I use this for loop? That was my question. Sir, why should I use this for loop? Please tell me why should. Okay, don't worry about it. Let's suppose I give you one simple assignment. I'll say you print your name 10 times. You don't know for loop. Okay, I'll give you one simple assignment. Print your name 10 times. You happily do it. Print 10 times. Happily you will do it. Okay, your task will be done. Again I am saying you, okay, print your name 100 times. Now you will say, sir, is it mandatory? I will say yes, it is mandatory, because this is the client requirement. You don't know for loop. Okay, you don't know for loop. But you will write print statement 100 times. Now again I give you, okay, write print statement 1000 times. Now you will say, sir, are you getting mad? You will get irritated to doing the same steps thousands of times. Again and again. At one point of time, you will feel irritated and you will say, sir, no, I am not willing to do it. Because this is the human nature. Okay. So, but client requirement is this one, that he wants his name on the screen thousands of times. That is the client requirement. He is giving me money. That's mean you have to do it. That's it. Simple panda. Okay. So, but you don't know for loop, but you will do. You will write this thing into thousands of times on the screen. So, same thing can be done. Same thing can be done only with 2 lines. Yes, only with 2 lines. You can perform the same thing with the help of only 2 lines. But sir, how? How we can perform it? Okay, to perform the same thing into 10 lines, what you have to take? You have to take the advantage of this for loop. Yes, you have to take the help of this for loop. So first we will understand the concept of the for loop. Now I think the picture is clear why we are using the for loop. Whenever you have to do this repetitive step, same step again and again, then you have to decide you have to take the advantage of this for loop. Let's suppose these are the number of statements that you want to execute thousands of time. Okay, thousands of time, 10,000 of time, trillions of time, millions of time. Okay, then what you have to take? You have to take the advantage of the for loop. Okay, then the for loop is fruitful for this kind of scenario, and we use the for loop for this. Okay, now understand the scenario exactly how we use the for loop inside Python. If you are coming from the C++ background, okay, if you are coming from the C++ background or even the Java background, the syntax for the for loop is something like this: for int I is equal to 0, I less than equals to 10, I plus plus, and then you have to curly brace, then you have to decide this percentage D. Okay, I am talking about C. Okay, percentage D comma the variable name, let's suppose X. Okay, and then you have to impart this and this. So this is the first way inside C++. The same thing inside C++ as well implemented. Same thing inside Java as well implemented, but here rather than to use this print, you have to use SOPLN, system.out.println. Okay, so don't worry about it, that is not our concern. Now understand this. Inside this, what I am deciding, if I carefully observe it, what I am saying, okay, starting point is 0 and less than equals to 10. So that's mean I have to execute these steps 0 to 9. So 0 to 9 mean total how many steps are there? 10 steps are there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's it. So how many steps I perform? I perform 10 steps only with the 2 lines. This is the concept into the C++. Okay. Now same thing I want to perform in the Python. Okay, in the Python. So before entering into this Python for loop, now first we understand very, the basic concept. Don't worry about it. If you are not clear about it, don't worry about it, but just for the, increase the knowledge. If I talk about the same thing inside Java or inside C++ 11 version, okay, or inside C++ 11 version or inside Java, we have 2 more loops. Okay, that is called for each loop. Okay, yes, that is also available into the C++ 11 version. That is the for each loop. Now, what exactly difference between this for and for each loop? Then I will come back to this point. Now that at that time, the point would be more easy to understand. Inside C and C++ and inside Java, we have 2 types of for loop. The one is called simple for loop and the second one is called for each loop. Okay, for each loop. Now, what exactly difference between these two? Just understand the concept. In the first time, I am saying you have to take 10 steps. That's mean I am restricting you. Okay, I am forcefully saying you, I am restricting you that you are only supposed to take only 10 steps. Okay, so your destination is, I am starting your destination point that is 0 and your end point that is 10. That's mean you are taking the 10 steps. That's it. Okay, at this situation, I will take the help of this for loop. Where I know I have to take only this much amount of steps. For example, you are entering inside the room and inside room there are 60 people. Okay, 60 students are sitting in front of you, but you are assessing only 10 students. You don't take care about the rest of the students, rest of 50 students. You are only processing 10 students. So this time I am restricting you. I am specifying, say you, okay, you are supposed to take only 10 steps. So at that point, you have to take the help of this for loop. Okay, you have to take the help of this for loop in C, C++ and Java. Here, inside for each loop, when you enter into the class, you find out there are 55 students and you automatically implement that 55 students. Second time you are again entered into the class, this time you are getting only 25 students. That's mean you process 25 times. Okay, you process 25 times. So whenever I don't know the steps, how many data items, how many objects are coming toward me, I don't know whether can be 10 or whether can be 10 lakh. So at that time, I have to take the advantage of for each loop in other programming languages. And this for each loop is implemented only with objects. Okay, for your array list, if I little more dig down into this, for array list or for collection topic, that is not our concern, basically, leave it. Okay, the same thing inside Python. Okay, the same thing inside Python. Here is only one loop, that loop is called for loop. Okay, here is only one loop and that loop is called for loop. You don't bother about this for loop and you don't bother about this for each loop. You are supposed to take only one loop, that loop is called for loop. That's it. Very simple funda. One funda is clear. Sir, we have to just maintain about the for loop. Now it's a little diplomatic to just understand the concept. What is in Java, what is for each loop? Okay, what is for each loop? That is for inside Python. Inside Java, what is a for loop? That is for loop inside Python. So meaning of this one is, observe carefully, I can use same loop, I can use this for loop inside Python for both of the purpose. One purpose where I know I have to take 10 steps. Second purpose where I don't know how many steps that I want to take. I have to use only single for loop. Okay, but little implementation is little bit change. Minor changes. There are only minor changes, but the syntax is remain same. I will show you practically both of the things. But first you have to clear this concept, because sometime when you are sitting inside the interview room, this type of question may asked by the interviewer. If I am the interviewer, I will definitely ask this type of question as well. Okay, so this is just concept. Inside Python, you are supposed to take only for loop, and this for loop will be treated as a concept of the for each loop and for loop. Now, sir, you said earlier into the discussion, this for each loop is implemented only with objects. Now, this is the main point. Inside Python, keep this funda into the mind. Inside Python, everything is object. Everything is object. Whatever you are doing this is the object. Whatever thing you are implementing inside Python, everything would be considered as a object. Now keep this funda into the mind. That's why you have to take care only one loop, and that loop is for. In other this is diplomatic. In other programming languages, that would be treated as a for each loop or for loop. So you have to take care only their one loop. So our task is a little easy. You don't bother about this for each loop. Okay, because people get confused into whenever I teach this subject, teach this concept into the C++, people get me confused. Sir, what is for loop and what is for each loop? So I really discuss this concept into the C++. Okay, because yes, inside C++, inside 11 version, if you are coming from the C++ background and you never heard about this for each loop, so I am clearing you, inside 11 version you are getting all maximum feature, whatever feature inside this Python. You can even implement the lambda expression as well inside 11. Okay, so inside 11 the concept is for each loop. If you want to study it out, you can go and study it out. So that is not our concern. Okay, don't worry about it. Now understand the Python for loop. Python for loop. Now I think the picture is clear, because that is the totally theoretical discussion. What is the difference between for and for each loop, and what exactly happened, what exactly the task of the for loop inside this Python. Now I think the picture is clear and you are capable enough to give the answer of this question. So now understand this for or for each loop, whatever you want to say, you can say it. So inside Python, the concept is very simple. I already told you, if you want to do the same step again and again and again and again and again, then you have to take the advantage of this for loop. So how I can do it? For, very simple, for I in range. Okay, I already told you range is a data type, which I described in very first day. Range is a data type. Inside range, I am passing the value. And whenever I use these columns, I know very well, in the very next line, I have to maintain the tab indented. Okay, so here I am printing my name, print of hello. Okay, print of hello. Just simply I am printing hello. Now what is happening? Understand this carefully. Now I am saying, just take it, understand this concept into the English terminology. I am saying for I in range of 10. Okay, I in a range of 10. Let's understand first range this. Whenever I use this range, okay, whenever I use this the range, I pass this 10, it's mean I generate the objects from 0 to 9. So let me show you this, then the picture would be more clear. Okay, the picture would be more clear. Now understand it. I am taking simple range. I am just talking about this range first. Okay, range of 10. Now what is the meaning of this? It's mean I am talking about 0 to 10. So inside Python, this is always n minus 1. So it's mean I am talking about 0 to 9. My boundary is 0 to 9. Up to 10 not included 10. Keep this funda into the mind. Up to 10 not included 10. I think this picture is clear. Okay, one more time I am using this range. Now this time I am saying range, okay, range 1 comma 100. Now what is the meaning of this? I am talking about from 1 to 99. Okay, 1 to 99. Okay, one more time I am using this range, and this time I am saying range of 10 comma let's suppose 200. Now what I am saying? I am saying 10 to 199. These are the steps that I have to take from starting from 10 and up to 199. Starting from 0 up to 10. That's mean up to included 0 to 9. So this one is the funda. Keep this funda into the mind. This one is the range. Range is a data type that I already discussed into the, whenever I define the 14 data types and I say you, I will left some of them and I will discuss one by one whenever our course will be move further. So now today is the time to discuss about this range. I think the picture is clear. The range mean that I am specifying the range of the element, range of the object, whatever object I am specifying over here, that's mean I have to take that much amount of steps. Very clear. Okay. Now the next is I am writing a loop for I in range of 10. So what is the meaning of this? It means 0 to 9. And print of, let's suppose my name, that is NITIL. Very simple. Now what is the meaning of this? We know in, okay, back to this in operator. We already discussed into the last session. In operator, the in is, let's suppose I am saying 10 in this list. Okay, I am saying very simple, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, now the output would be true. Why so? Because in mean I am saying 10 inside this list and output is getting true. Same thing I am saying 1 in range of, okay, range of 10. Is it true or false? Is it true or false? Is it true? Because I am saying 1 is a range of 10. Perfectly true. When I am saying, now understand carefully, when I am saying 10 in range, that's mean false. Because 10 is not inside my range, because I already told you it's always 0 to 9. So whenever this come false, my loop will be break. My loop will be true until I am getting the true output. Whenever I got the output that is the false output, immediately my loop will be break out. So I think now picture little bit clear. So understand this concept. Here I am saying for I in range of 10. I in range of 10 mean by default I value starting from 0 and it will iterate up to 10. That's mean 9. Okay, this is one funda. In the first iteration, I value becomes 0. Now I am saying 0 in 0 to 9, the condition is true. If this is true, then print on the screen, that is NITIL. Now in the second iteration, I value become 1. Now I am saying 1 in 0 to 9, condition is true, then print NITIL. In next iteration, I value automatically become 2. Okay, I value automatically become 2 with the help of this 4. I value is iterating, changing. Okay, now 2 in 0 to 9, the condition is true. Okay, then I value become 3. 3 in 0 to 9, condition is true. 4 in 0 to 9, condition true. 5 0 to 9 true. 6 0 to 9 true. 7 0 to 9, 8 0 to 9, 9 0 to 9. Whenever I value become 10, that's mean this condition become false. When this condition become false, then what output I will get? I will get stop. Okay, break. That's mean this iteration has been completed. Okay, this iteration has been completed. This is very simple funda to understand the for loop inside Python. So I will show you, just wait for a second. For I in range of 10. Okay, now this time I am spelling mistake, because 4 space I, keep this funda into the mind. Okay, for I in range of 10, print of, let's suppose I am printing my name NITIN. Okay, now you will get the output on the screen 10 times. Now you can observe the same thing is happening how many times? The 10 times. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, because always keep this funda into the mind. Whenever I define empty over here, it's mean counting always start from 0. So 0 to 9 mean total 10 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many times this would be appear on the screen? 10. Sir, but sir, I need a proof. Are you saying true or false? I want to print the value of this I. I want to print the value of this I. Don't worry about it. Very simple. Now this time what I am printing, rather than to print this, this name, I am printing the I value. I am printing the I value. Now the picture would be more clear. So I already told you, I value in starting becomes 0. I print I value, that is 0. I value become 1. I print I value, that is 1. I value become 2. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And whenever I value become 10, immediately this condition become false. When this condition become false, this loop is breaked. So automatically this loop is breaked. So this one is the funda. Okay, this is the way how you can use the the for loop inside the Python. Okay, sir, this time you said I had to take 10 steps, but where the concept of the for each loop that you already told us? Okay, now wait for a second, I am moving to that concept as well. Now first let's little bit play with it. For this time what I am doing now, this time I am starting from 2 to 10. Okay, 2 to 10 mean my iteration will start from the second position and up to 9. So how many iteration I will perform? This much amount of iteration I will perform. Okay sir, very good. Sir, what else we can do with this concept? No problem. What else? Okay, this time I am using the concept of the stepping. Okay, I am using the concept of the stepping. So what is the meaning of this? I am starting from 2. I am that's mean I am standing over second location. After that I am taking the jump of 2. So 2 plus 2, 4. 4 plus 2, 6. 6 plus 2, 8. And 8 plus 2, 10. 10 is not inside my boundary. So what output I will get? I will get the even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8. Perfect. Very good, sir. Sir, can you please show us? Yes. Now you can check out the exactly output is same 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Perfect. Sir, this time I need even numbers. I need even numbers. So from where I have to start? 1. Okay, from 1 I have to start, and you have to take the jump of 2. Even you can take the jump of 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. That is again your choice according to problem statement. Okay, so 1 and 6. When I am taking the jump of 5, that's mean I am taking the jump of, I am standing over 1. After that I am taking the jump of 5. I am reaching over 6. After that again I take the jump of 5 and I reach on 11. When I reach on 11, that is not inside my boundary because I specify my boundary 0 to 9. So this one is the concept. I think the picture is more clear about till now. But sir, one more thing. Can you please print me 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 6, 7, something like this into the reverse order? Perfectly. Yes, we know, sir, we can it. We can it. So by default, the indexing is, stepping is positive. So I am specifying over here. I am specifying over here. I am starting from 10. I am reaching to the 10, but on which direction? On the negative direction. Negative, it doesn't mean the negative direction, on the backward direction. Okay, because I start from 10, I end point this 0. That's mean I have to follow from, I am standing over 10. Okay, I am standing over 10, and where I have to reach? I have to reach on 0. So for 0, that's mean always n minus 1. Always n minus 1. So sir, I want over 0 over here. If you want over here 0, then what you have to do? You have to take the help of this 1. Okay, sorry, not 1, you have to take minus 1. Okay, minus 1. So you have to take minus 1. Now you are getting 0. Okay, you are getting 0 as well. So this one is a funda. When you want to do the reverse, we know by default the stepping is positive, and you want to take the stepping is negative. Okay, because I starting from the largest number to the smallest number. So I think this picture is clear. Anyone having any doubt till now, please ask me before moving further. Anyone having any doubt, please ask me Good. Are you there or sleep out?
No, we are here.
Okay. Okay. So because sometime I don't know, but sometime when I follow the online lectures or listen the YouTube videos, sometime I feel slept out. So whenever you feel something like this, whenever you feel you are losing your interest, just say me, sir, stop over here. Okay. So and what I do, I simply post that video over here. You can check it out. My maximum videos are posted somewhere. You can check it out. My video is posted over here. If you see this one, again you will check my video is posted over here. Okay. So you will check out my all the time my videos are posted on some location. Okay. So don't worry about it. So okay. So now this time I am showing you the next concept inside this, that is the concept of the for each loop. Okay. For each loop. Okay. So this time, sir, how this concept is for each loop? Understand, very simple. You don't worry about it. L is let's suppose this one is my list. Okay, someone give me list and I don't know how many values inside this list. I don't know. They can be 5 because I know it is 5 values. Why so? Because I enter the value. Let's suppose I am getting the value from some third party. Okay, I am getting the value from someone else. I am getting the value from the files. Okay, I am getting the value from the database and I don't know how many people are registered with me. So for this kind of concept where I don't know how many steps that I have to take, for this concept what I will use, I will simply use for I in L. Very simple. For I in L, print of I. Now what is happening over here? What is happening over here? Now in this case I am specifying that my range is this one, but in this case I am specifying I have my range is this L. So inside L these items are there. So in the first iteration I value become 10. Okay, I print I value. In the second iteration I value become 20. In the third iteration I value become 30, 40, 50, something like this, where I don't know how many values are there. Okay, I don't know. Let's suppose I getting the data from somewhere else. Okay, somewhere else, and inside that there are huge values. I don't know how many values. Now you guys don't know how many values inside this, because here we are getting the error. Here we will. Okay, so we don't know how many values are there, but I want to process each and every item. Very simple. For I in L. Okay, and print of I. Very simple. Now you are getting all these values one by one. All these values one by one. In this first iteration I value become 10, then 1, then 1, then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and after that 100, 1, 1, 1, and then 1. So this is the funda. Okay, so very simple way. Okay, now to whom I can more iterate? Let's suppose this one is a hello. Okay, for I in S, print of I. Okay, so I am getting HELLO one by one I am getting. In the starting first iteration I value become H, second iteration I value become E, third iteration I value become 4 L, next iteration I value become L, next iteration I value become O. One by one this value is changing. Okay, so now I am showing you little operation on these values. Now my client says, my client want, okay, this is my data, okay, you are getting this data from somewhere, and my client want, I want to implement every value, I have to multiply every value with 2. That is my requirement. Very simple. For I in L, okay, I in L. Now print of I multiply by 2. Okay, I multiply by 2. Very simple. Now you can check. The first value I is 10. Okay, what operation I perform? 10 into 2. Now it will become 20. Again I value become 20. 20 into 2, that become 40. 30 into 2, that becomes 60. 40 into 2, that become 80. So I value becomes something like this. Okay, so this one is the funda. So choice is again your, okay, where you have to use this, you can go with this. Okay, so we can again process this thing with one more way, and that way is little bit you know the lengthy way, and sometime yes that way is highly required. Now observe this scenario. In the first case I simply use this. Okay, I simply use this. I use for I in L and I print I. Okay, this one is the first case. Now you are getting 10, 20, 30 perfectly. There is no any difference. Okay, this is one way, simple way. There is one more way, same output I will get one another way. Okay, and sometime yes this way is highly required. In some of the problem statements this way is highly required. So how I can achieve it? Okay, for understand that concept, first what I have to do, I have to understand one function. That function is called len. Okay, len. So len is a function which will return you the length. Okay, keep this funda into the mind. Len is a function which will return you the length of a object. Okay, so how I can get it out? Let's suppose y is equal to len of L. So in this case, keep this point into the mind. The length function whenever I use, the counting always start from 1. So inside y, what will be there? 1, 2, 3, because its length is 3. Okay, because its length is 3. Now understand this point. Indexing always start from 0. Whenever you use this len method, the length counting always start from 1. Keep this funda into the mind, important one. Okay, so same output this time I will implement the len method. So same use the previous for loop I will gonna to use for I in. Okay, I in range of len of L. Len of L. Now what is the meaning of this? I am specifying over here this kind of thing for I in range of 3. Perfect, I in range of 3, because length of this one, the length of this one is 3. Okay, so this means this. So I value becomes 0, I value become 2, I value become 3. Sorry, 1 and 2, not 3. So I value becomes 0, I value become 1, I value become 2. Very simple. Okay, so this is another way. So another concept, how I can fetch the value. If I do it, L of 0, what output I will get? I will get 10. L of 1, what output I will get? I will get 20. L of 2, what output I will get? I will get 30. This is the concept of this slicing. This is the concept of this slicing. Okay, rather than to pass over here 0, if I pass the value of I, then what would be happen? Okay, so then what would be happen? I value in the starting iteration becomes 0. So I value here 0. 0 mean 10 item. I value become 1 here. Then I value become 1. 1 mean 20. I value become 2. 2 mean 20. Okay, 30. So I will do over here print L of I. That's it. Now in the first iteration I value is 0. Now L of 0 is 10. Okay. Now L value become 1. Okay. L of 1 become 20. Now L value become 2, L of 2 become 30. So you will get this output. This is another way. Sometime specifically we have to use this way, because I will give you some assignment. That assignment would be completed only with the help of this way. Otherwise it's very difficult to improve. Okay, so I will show you this one. Okay, I'll show you this one. Now this one is a L. For I in L, first simple way, and print of I. Okay, this is the first simple way. Another way, for I in range of len of this L. Okay, then colon, then we know it, starting range and stop range, print of L of I. That's it. Okay, that's it. Now you are getting the same output. 10, 20, 30, 40. 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, output is same, 10, 20, 30, 40. Choice is again this one and this one. Okay, this is the concept with the help of slicing. This one is simple concept with the help of, you can say it's the for each loop, where automatically the value is assigning over here. Here I am first calculating the length. According to that length, I am processing it. For example, just take a simple scenario. You enter inside the class, First way, the person are coming to you, and how many persons are coming you don't know. Let's suppose there are 25, then the 25 people are coming over here. In this case, what you are doing, first you are counting the number, and after counting it, you are specifying yourself, okay, I have to process these 25 students. So this is another way. Some output is same exactly in the both of the cases. Here, if you want to again perform any mathematical operation, you can perform it. For example, multiply by 2. Okay, so yes, you can do it. The choice is again here, because sometimes it's hard, we have to go with this. Okay, sometimes some problem statement get rigid, they are supposed to solve with the help of this scenario. Sometimes this is perfect, this is perfectly fine for us. Okay, I think the picture is clear or not. If you have any doubt regarding this, please ask me. Before moving further, I'm giving you some assignments regarding this follow. Anyone having any question, any doubt, please ask me. Okay, good. So now the time for the assignments. Okay, so these are the 4 assignments. The number 1 assignment. Okay, so just wait for a second. I am not elaborating it. Just wait with the client. So your team leader will interact. After team leader, you will discuss the same thing with team leader. Now team leader will explain each and everything to you guys. So this type of activities try to improve, your listening capabilities, your understanding capabilities. Because this time if I explain assignments, you will ask me, sir, I didn't understand what exactly I have to do over here. So I will correct you over there. So I don't want this. Try to change your little habit. This video is available. If you didn't get understanding after watching this video what exactly that you have to do with these assignments, then come back to me. Okay, then come back to me. So I am not explaining. These are the 4 assignments, and these assignments are based on the for loop. And this assignment is most important if you are entering into the into the data analysis or machine learning field, because this one is the most important assignment into that respect, because the first step of the machine learning is data cleansing, and this assignment will teach you how you are supposed to clean this data. Because in production, if I am taking the project of the machine learning, so maximum time, if my project is for 6 months, so 3 months are wasted to get the data, to clean the data, to normalize the data, to deduplicate the data, okay, to transform the data, and then after 3 months, I am in 2 months. The machine learning task is nothing, that is up to only for 1 month, not more than that. But maximum time is consumed to fetch the data and to transform the data. Okay, and after that I put the implementation of the machine learning algorithm that take 1 month. After 1 month, the 2 months are for re-engineering. Okay, for re-engineering. What is the meaning of the re-engineering? First, you are getting the data from China. The data is, your machine learning model is perfectly fine. Now you are getting the data from the Korea, but you never teach your model to learn the Korean data, okay, Korean patterns, then your model will get degraded. So again, you have to redesign, you have to retrain your model. Again, after retraining, you have to reproduce your model, and you have to again reassign your model on the production. So this is very one step. Listen carefully that video. This is the first step to enter into the data analytics field, okay, to clean the data. Okay, so the link I am giving you, I am showing you, this one is the video number 19 in my playlist on the US Data Technology channel. The video number 19, that is the Python assignment. Okay, so these are the assignment that you have to cover. So if you get a difficulty to understand this concept, then come back to me. Okay, then come back to me. I will explain each and everything in great detail. So probably your class would not be happen tomorrow, or may not be happen on Saturday, may not be happen on Sunday, because there are few students. Again, some of students are from Ireland, and might be there is one student from the Australia. So probably they will be again join this batch. So that's why I am giving you the assignment for 3 days. I am leaving for the 3 days. So in the meanwhile, you are supposed to cover your previous concept, and as well as to try to think these assignments. And this assignment, this assignment, This is the assignment which is asked two time into the Microsoft examination. Okay, this is the assignment which is asked into the two time when I give the Microsoft examination of this Python MTA 98381. So this assignment is given by two time to me to solve this assignment into that examination. So this is the prime number. First you have to understand the concept of the prime number. Don't worry about it if you not understand the concept. I will explain each assignment into the next session. So any doubt, I will confirm about this whether the class is there or not. Okay, if anything from your side, please ask me. Any question from your side, please ask me before closing this session.
No, sir.
Okay, so I hopefully try to cover the previous one as well as this assignment. Please listen that video, and this recording will be